herzlich willkommen zu Wild at Heart, deinem Podcast für Manifestation und herzgeführtem Leben. Mein Name ist Jenny Kobi. Ich bin Life-Coach, Autorin, Speakerin, Online-Kongressveranstalterin und ich habe die Vision, Frauen zu ermutigen, ihr erfülltestes, freiestes Leben zu kreieren. Und zwar aus ihrer Seele heraus. In diesem Podcast mit meinen Gästen und mir geht es daher um sinnliches Alignment, Mutausbrüche, Göttinnen-Energy und die Kunst, radikal für deine Wahrheit zu gehen. Schön, dass du da bist.
This is also like a very personal interview or episode for me, and I was so looking forward to it because, like, as a projector, as a Cancer, as someone who is so highly sensitive, like almost psychic, getting introduced, into this kind of like very masculine way of investment and network like marketing, it was like, girl, bye. I did it for a while and I kind of like had the elbow mentality, but then I kind of like had to go back into my own shell. And then I felt like it was not right for me. So where do I fit in? And just re-listening to these like voice notes, you kept saying, and that was, that stood out. You kept saying, I'm not a people person. How do I fit in? How can I make this my own way? So I want to like go back a little bit and start with, because you're an artist, right? You went to school, you went to university, you have, I think, is it called like a Bachelor of Fine Arts or something? Is that the term? Right. And you did the galleries and then you did the collectors and all of that. And maybe take us back a little bit, because we talk about how careers can change when we actually like follow our intuitive nudge and follow what feels right for us, to that moment where you actually realized, well, this is a world that is, like I kind of people please. In your voice note, you said, I kind of had to kiss ass, and it didn't really feel right. So like the first milestone, basically, can you take us back a little bit? And yeah, just like, what did you feel? How did you struggle? And then what was the decision that you made?
Okay, so I went to university back in Colombia for 6 years to fine arts school. And during my entire career, I was with the cool girls because it was like all the most beautiful girls in in our semester, and they were all my friends, and I loved those people. They were amazing. But we were also the nerds. Like, we would cry if we didn't get the highest scores. We would work together. That's kind of when I learned how to have a sisterhood in a way. That was my first sisterhood in my life, because I had always been friends with boys before that. So with them, we kind of gathered this like sisterhood. And I went into that. We were never competitive between ourselves, but we were very competitive towards the rest of everyone else. And so during my career, I went through this struggle of wanting to be my best, but also having to comply to get, the grades. And so sometimes I wouldn't agree, but I would do it because I knew it was going to give me a good grade. And then that translated into when I went out into the world to become an artist, and I had to start to look for galleries, representation, managers, and all these, things that are important for our business as artists. I had to become this person who I am not. I am also a projector. I'm a 6'2". So the two, mind you, that I'm a hermit, like a full-blown hermit. I'm also an Aquarius. So, you can probably figure out what's going on. I'm not into, like, when I would attend my solo exhibitions, people would ask like, oh, who's the artist? And because my name is kind of rare for Colombia as well as for the US, people wouldn't know if I was a boy or a girl. So they would be like, oh, who's the artist? I'm like, I have no idea. I think they went over there, but I'm not sure. Because I didn't want to deal with people asking me questions about my art, even though I would fully share all of my process and everything in a text that you lay out for the exhibition. And so at this point, I started encountering situations where I didn't feel comfortable in like the public eye of being an artist. And so I started asking myself questions and feeling like maybe this is not right for me, because the business side of things feels exciting. It feels right, but the execution is just not right. It just doesn't fit quite in. And so after all of that, I kind of went away. So at this point, we moved from my city where I was living with my husband and my newly born daughter. She was about a year. And we moved away from the city to like this like suburb, let's call it a suburb, outside of the city. And that's where we were surrounded by nature. We lived in this huge property. It was like 3,000 square meters of a property. And we had mountains and like cows, and it was very, very countryside. It was beautiful. I was like, you know what? Maybe I want to build some business that will allow me to stay home with my daughter, but also kind of like, have that business driven action taken. And so I started a business. It was a completely unrelated business. It was going great. Our whole family situation changed all of a sudden. We had to move to the US. We had to sell everything in Colombia. It was a mixture of a security issue and financial thing that was happening with our family, because many changes caused us to go bankrupt. And so we decided to come here because here in California was my mom and my siblings. My mom remarried. She moved here 10 years ago. And so we had my daughter who was 1 year old. I'm sorry, my dog is trying to get some attention here. Hey, buddy. And which is funny because he's a German Shepherd. So very on point. And so he, with my daughter being one, I think she was around 18 months. And I figured, you know what? My mom lives here. I want her to be close to her grandma. So long story short, we moved here, and I could not bring all of my art pieces because in Colombia, you have to go through the Ministry of Culture and History and whatever. And you have to pay a ton of money to take art pieces out of the country. And so I decided to leave everything. I had over 200 pieces, and I had to store them in a whatever storage. I don't even know where they are now, but I had to store everything and leave. And so when I got here, I was it was very painful. And it was also it was like a rupture for me. I was like, I'm leaving all of that behind. I attached all my art career to a lot of pain and a lot of insecurity in the physical sense, like unsafety. And so I went into this like, kind of like you described it, like a shell, where I went fully into my feminine energy. I started to study mindset, how to reprogram the brain in a very scientific way, not in a very spiritual way. And so I started studying all of these things, and I realized I had so much work to do. So I started doing the work. And one thing led to the other. And one day I got this, sign where I was told to start studying the economy, kind of like how it moves, how it works. And a friend called me and she said like, hey, a friend, showed me this forex trading thing. And I remember that one of my landlords back in Colombia, when we were renting, he would live off of forex. He was a forex trader. He had an investment fund. He had, I think he was handling $12 million at the time from 3 different investors. And that's how he would make a living. He would make around $15K a month in residual from trading other people's money. And so I'm like, oh, I actually kind of know about this. I know you can, buy a huge house. So, I might as well listen. And he wouldn't do day trading. He would do kind of like midterm trading, like like 2 to 3 month transactions. And so I've been to his office. I had been to like his place of work. I had seen how he worked, and I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. I have no clue what you're saying, but yeah, I get it. So at this point, I was introduced to the academy, and it all made so much sense to me. It was kind of weird because I was like, I thought I was an artist. I thought I was very sensitive, very like non-business driven, but I actually am. And I love money. So let's give this a try. I started doing it. I was really good at it. I also called my friend who was, my landlord, who became my friend. And I'm like, hey, can I take a look at your, he had it was not a training program, but it was like a support, like continuing support, educational type of program. And he allowed me to access it, and I went through it, and I was like, oh shit, this is good. And so I started trading. And in the middle of it, I was in a team, in a Latin American team. And I was doing great. I started giving my own sessions to my team. But all of the people that joined my team were not necessarily brought to me because I was chasing them. They kind of got to me somehow. Or someone had heard, they probably watched my videos on Instagram, whatever. They recommended a friend who was interested and they called me, and that's kind of how it was built. And I didn't have like a huge team, so I could pay attention to every single person and have sessions with them. And I would have sessions with my mentors. But at a certain point, that team broke. My upper team broke because the people who were leading it, they were completely misaligned with my values. They were trying to recruit people, lying, setting false expectations, taking people that were very, very poor and trying to convince them into gathering money to sign up for 1 month. Like they would gather money from family members to just sign up for 1 month, knowing that they would not achieve anything in a month. Because we all know that it's not a 1 month process. It's not an overnight process. It takes time and it takes a lot of practice. And so I was like, I realized I didn't want to be a part of that. They moved to a different company. So the network marketing side of things was not working for me. I felt so bad. I was like, this is bullshit. I don't want to be a part of this. Then they started trying to take my people away. And my people were calling me like, we don't want to leave. Why is this person calling me? I don't even know them. They're like, shit. So I was like, okay, if I'm going to do this, I'm not going to do the network marketing. This is definitely just not for me. And at that point, I had been following Maddie because he was, giving his sessions. I switched to his team because I contacted him. I had done a couple of sessions.
Same team. Ambition.
Yeah. It was just a different line probably.
Yeah.
But I was like, I did one session with him and a couple more people. And then I was like, you know what? I want to join your team. My team is crap. It's falling apart. I want to bring my people and, give them the support they need. But they all spoke Spanish. Mm-hmm. So I had to be in the middle trying to give them all the information I was being nourished with. And I did very well. Like I was doing well. I'm not going to tell you I made $20,000 a month every month. I didn't because I had a very small capital to begin with. I started with $200. But I got to the point where I felt comfortable. I had a side business and this was just so much fun for me. I didn't even thought about it as a business. I just thought about it as something that was very nourishing and very fun. And I was learning a ton about economy, how money moves really, all these things. And I loved it. And then in the middle of Team Ambition being part of my team, they needed me to do sessions at a time where it was not viable for me as a mom. Like 9:30 sessions with a 4-year-old or a 3-year-old, it was very hard for me. We couldn't do it. And my husband was already going to bed to sleep. He would wake up early. So I was running from one side to the other because I would do the morning sessions at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. and then trying to comply with the 9 p.m. so I wouldn't be left out from the leading team. It was important for me to be on the leadership. And then I realized it was not working for me. And I think that's when in this whole story, I had like a few moments where I was like, okay, this is not working. This is too masculine. This is too feminine. This is just too, it's not that it's comfortable or uncomfortable. I'm okay being uncomfortable, but it didn't feel right. And so at that point, I started trading on my own with my team, and I quit the Tuesday sessions that we had with Matt, with Joel, with CJ, and all the other amazing people that were there. I stopped, and they were all, are you insane? Why would you stop? And I'm like, I can't because my husband is falling asleep. I wake up really early. That's the time when I feel my most productive is in the morning. So for me at this time, I can barely think. I'm causing people to lose money because I'm not really available at this time. Long story short, I stopped. I started doing sessions with my own team. So if you wanted sessions with me, you would have to be on my team. And it was not me playing a card to get more people under me. It was just like me being true to myself. And that went on for a few months. And one day I was meditating. So I'm big on meditation. I was meditating. And I don't remember what I asked. Like I asked my soul questions and I was asking my soul some questions. And then something came up like, stop trading. Put all your money in cryptocurrencies. I'm like, why did I do that? And then I woke up and I was like, okay, so what do I do? I had all my money on my, my binary trading accounts. And I'm like, okay, so do I just like withdraw everything? What do I do? So I left a couple $100 and then I transferred everything to Bitcoin. I remember buying Solana at that point. I remember getting just like 5 or 6 cryptocurrencies. And I looked into them, I kind of analyzed them, and I chose those 6. But I chose them for the long run. I chose them as a 10-year investment. And I left them. Like I literally bought everything and it's sitting there and it's still there. Mm-hmm. And I told everyone, like, I'm not doing this anymore. And I try to learn like how to do forex long term, like midterm. And I started scalping and then I started doing stuff and it was like just like it was not working. So I think it was a week after that meditation and revelation I got, where one of my students calls me and they're like, hey, the broker's not working. I'm like, what? The broker went down. I don't know if you guys were in the middle of this, but the broker got shut down by the government for a few weeks or months. I don't remember how long it was. Mm-hmm. People couldn't withdraw their money. They were struggling to get their money back. They were scared that they would lose everything. And this broker was Vita Forex. And so what they did was they would show you like a little red title text thing saying like it got shut down by the IRS or something because it was some sort of like inconvenience with the offshore accounts that were associated with the broker. And I'm like, holy shit, my meditation was actually right. Like, I'm glad I did this. And that's kind of when I started allowing more of the feminine intuition to come guide my investments and I know this is like the worst advice I can give anybody, because if people are not really connected to their intuition and they allow their ego to get in, then you don't want your ego driving your investments for sure. Mm-hmm. But this is what I had to do. So it was like, I knew I had to do it. And so I started guiding my investments through my intuition. That led me to, make money off of cryptocurrencies. Then they went down. Then I'm not even looking at them. I don't care where they are because it's a 10-year investment. So I have a 5-year portfolio, a 10-year portfolio, and I'm cool with it. And I just pretend that money doesn't exist. And that makes me feel like I'm flowing with it and I feel good about it. And then...
Can I just stop for a second? Because I have a question. Because now I feel like you're ending the whole trading journey and then you're transitioning into your new field, right? And I want to stick with the trading for a little bit because like without the team and all the leadership effort and the network marketing that goes into it, just you and the charts. Can we talk about this? Because I think like trading is such a great opportunity for like introverts, And can you share with me like a little bit, and also from like maybe from a female perspective, how you have experienced it? Because now I think you're not doing it anymore, right? But I'm such a big like advocate when it comes to trading for women, So can you take us back? Because you have loved it, right? Like sitting with the charts, and also when you described just how you were feeling. Do you remember that? How was that? And maybe I can add to that a little bit. Yeah.
I love trading. Don't get me wrong. Like, I will encourage people to go trade. It was just not working for me for this time in my life where I have a small kid, where my schedule, we're PST. So we're always behind EST. And it's kind of hard with the scheduling of things. And also I had some process happening that was kind of being hurt by the news. Mm-hmm. So that's it's a very personal, let's say very personal reason why I stopped trading, because it entailed like a lot of internal healing journey and all of that. And it's not necessarily because it made sense. It made no sense. I'm telling you. I feel trading is amazing. And the reason why I believe people or most people fail at it, it's because they are not willing to put in the work, because they are fed this idea that it's easy. It's not easy. However, it's worth it. Nothing is going to be easy. Being poor, being like ass broke is not easy. But if you're not, like, you have to choose your heart, right? Like, choose, you want to have the freedom, you want to be able to work from home, or you want to just, not have that, but not have to learn. You have two choices here. And so people are not willing to learn and to go deep into it. And I feel trading requires you to open up way beyond what they're teaching you in all the different courses. They're amazing, but that's not it. You have to learn the basics, discover on your own a lot of the basics as well, and like go deep into it and be curious about it and read about it. And once you have that, it's always necessary to continue to like try to understand things deeper. And I'll get to this later, but with real estate, I've learned so much about this world that I had no idea about when I was trading that would have been super useful. So I feel like if people open their minds and try to understand trading from various perspectives and points of view, that's going to feed their trading like a way, it will give it a way deeper meaning and much more understanding of how things happen, why they happen, how to foresee some of these actions that take place, some of these consequences that happen. I believe it's an amazing way of making money, but I do feel there's a lot of misinformation because of the network marketing side of things. It's not that network marketing is bad. It's great. It's amazing because all of us communicators are, we're trying to help our circle to join in something that's actually pretty good. But sometimes there are people who are not very aligned with their values when they're doing network marketing, and they get lost in that. And so because of that, it permeates everyone in the business, right? So the charts, the whole industry of trading, the whole economy behind it, it's really, really interesting, and it's very deep, and there are so many little things to learn. But once you start the process, you don't have to know everything. Nobody knows everything. But once you start the process and get curious about it, I feel that's when things started happening for me, and I started understanding it way beyond just like graphics and saying, oh, if this touched the Bollinger Bands and then the EMA is like below it, and then the 200 and the 9 and the 4 cross at some point, and then the RSI, SRI, I don't get this.
Yeah.
RSI and the whatever, like all the indicators that you can have. Oh, and the fractals and the this and the that. Yes, all the indicators are amazing. But once you understand why they're there and why they're behaving in that way, it's like, wow, it opens up. And you're like, wow, I know things that most people don't know. And you have that ability to capitalize on that. Knowledge is like every other business. You capitalize on knowledge, service, or products.
Yeah. And I think like, especially for introverts, I love my work as a mentor. It's amazing. It's great work. And at the same time, for it being a business, you kind of like, you have to have clients, right? And you have to have a team, and you have to, and sometimes, I'm just so grateful for like waking up, having my coffee, having, the music, and then just looking at the charts, because that's exactly like what I want to do and what suits me. And so I remember this moment. I even remember this moment when I said to the universe, you know what? I love my work as a mentor so much. I know it is so valuable for women. And at the same time, I want to add something that gives me a lot more like freedom in terms of like, I don't have to be in front of the camera all the time. I don't have to have clients, and therefore, yeah, I always advocate this because, or that's why I'm always saying I'm such an advocate for trading when it comes to introverted people, because it's such a great way to make money, and at the same time to like, I don't know, just like indulge, in music and coffee and like just, yeah, all the things that that soothe basically your soul, right? Yeah.
And also, I feel like if you're not in the need to lead from a place of, how to put it, like, if you don't need the recognition to be in a position of leadership, like I was, and even some people in my position would have done beautifully because they align with it and that's their personality. And I couldn't. I had many different reasons why I didn't want to do it, but I loved it. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
And also, if you don't have that need because it doesn't align with you, you don't want to be in front of a camera, you don't want to be exposed all the time, but you do have the knowledge and you do have the passion for it, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's a huge opportunity. It's really not that complicated. It just requires time and attention and curiosity. And once you have that, I feel it just like starts flowing. Things start flowing your way.
Mm-hmm.
But
so like when you're open to actually, because I feel like it has made me even like a more spiritual person, because like obviously you have to deal with all of your fears and like basically your attachment style. It even goes that deep, you know, if you're willing to look at it. And yeah.
Yes. And you also have to reframe a lot of your beliefs, a lot of your thinking patterns, your patterns in general. I don't know if this happened to you, but all my life patterns, they went straight to trading. And I was like, holy shit, every time this happens, I'm reacting this way. Every time this happens, I'm thinking this thoughts. And you have to reframe all of these things to be able to focus and to be able to be present when you're trading. So it requires a lot of personal development as well. Not only mindful, like mindful learning and getting the right education, but it also requires you to be a very observant person, which leads you to be a very present person, which gets rid of a lot of anxiety and depression and other things that people are suffering from nowadays. So I think it's a beautiful thing to do. And I still do it like I said, I left a couple $100. I've been like, whenever I have some time, I just jump on it and I enjoy it. It's really fulfilling for me. So I never like completely quit, but now I do it for fun. It's more of like a personal treat. Like, I have some time to go trade.
Yeah. Okay, so first you did like the galleries and all that, and it wasn't really for you. And then you came to trading and the leadership, and then you left that business. And then now you have found something that really suits you, right? And then now you can combine the masculine and feminine aspects. And so what is that?
You're gonna laugh at this. Now I'm doing both.
You brought it together beautifully.
I'm literally doing both. So after all of that, I started doing content creation for a while, which is, I still do it, but it's like my hobby, like my paid hobby, I call it. I started doing content creation because it involved some creativity and it was fun and I was good with social media. So I started doing that. And that led me to go back to painting because I wanted to, at that point I stopped working after trading. For a while I stopped working. We moved cities, so I needed to focus on my household and my daughter and supporting her. She was not doing great at school. She was she was at a very difficult school. It's a great school academically, but she had some issues socially. She was a very sensitive girl. She's a Cancer. Mm-hmm. And so she's extra sensitive. She's very mindful of other people's emotions, but sometimes she's also very easily hurt. And she was not doing great. So I took some time to, support her. And then I think it was about 7 months after this whole quit trading thing, that I started doing the content creation. It was something that came to me, but it was not like something that would support my dreams, not at this point, at least. And I know that you can grow things and it takes time. However, I wanted something that would help me get to my dreams faster. And so I started learning real estate and I got licensed as a real estate agent here in California. But again, it was like a very masculine world still. You picture, I don't know, this is how I pictured it. I pictured like pretty ladies dressed up, walking on
Like
heels.
sunset.
Nice, beautiful, $5 million homes. Dude, that's not it. It's not it. You have to go walk, door knock. You have to put yourself out there. It's sometimes dangerous. As a woman, I felt a little bit intimidated because, like, you're knocking on strangers' doors. There's all sorts of insane people everywhere. So I'm like, I don't know. This still doesn't feel right. Like, what am I? What am I? Am I this, like, this person who's like unfulfilled with everything? What is this? And the universe kind of delivered, and I found this broker. It's still a broker, it's still real estate, but it's in a different side. It's not residential. My husband is doing residential now because it was more of his jam. Like, he's a people's person. He loves talking to strangers. He loves like helping people and being of service. I love helping in my own personal way. I am not a servicing person. I know that sounds bad, but it's the truth. I am very helpful, but I'm not going to put myself out there and like 24/7 be willing to serve. I need my time. I'm a hermit. And I need my alone time and my boundaries and my space. So I ended up finding this broker where what we do is they've been acquiring land. So land is a very stable, very feminine, very like, it's a container. It contains all of us. So it's very feminine. And they buy land, they sell raw land. So there's no improvements, no, construction on it. It's just raw land. But they sell it to investors when it's at a point where there is actual opportunity for them to make money. Because land to appreciate can take 100 years to reach like double in price. However, with raw land that is closer to like high growth areas where it's developing pretty fast, then you can make your 400, 500% in less than 10 years. And it is a very conservative way of investment. It's not trading where you can make 100% in a month, but it's a very steady, safe type of investment. It also doesn't give you the liquidity that rentals give you. So I always tell people, like, don't put all your money in land. But don't put all your money into like stocks or cryptos or real estate. Just, diversify and try to be mindful of how to manage your risk. That's, we all know it. Risk management is like top of mind whenever it comes to trading as well. So yes, I started selling these raw land parcels and it felt really, really nice. There is no going out there door knocking because I have my own investors. So I reach out to them. I have inventory. I show them the inventory via just like a Zoom call like we're doing right now. I don't have to go anywhere because like there are softwares that show you like an aerial view of the property. They cannot steal anything from the land. So as long as it's like recorded on our name, the company's name, and it's there, like there's not much nobody can steal. They cannot go and like, what are they going to do? You don't have to go see that the property is in good shape. It's land. Mm-hmm. And so when I found this, I was like, okay, this feels way more aligned with me. And that's what I've been doing for the past year. And I love it. And then because I do have some time in my head.
How is this different now? What would you say?
So I feel like I still have to help people, which is, I love it. That's why I started teaching in the first place. But it's from a much more relaxed position. So I don't have to be convincing anybody to do anything because it's like the oldest trick in the book. Like, how did the Rockefellers, Carnegies, like Guggenheims, all of them made their money on land and then, what they did with that land. But this guy, Bob Hope, he's like an actor from back in the day. Like he's an older celebrity. He's like a comedian, I think, or so, whatever. He bought here in California near LA. We call Los Angeles to downtown LA. And then there are surrounding areas like the San Fernando Valley, which is like pretty much well known. And so the valley was, back in the 40s and the 50s, it was nothing. There was no development there. And so this guy, Bob Hope, he started purchasing land, and he owned over 80% of the properties in the valley. And nowadays you can barely find an acre for like over $2.5 million. So he made a ton of money through selling land to developers. And that's what we do. We sell it to investors, so they sell it to developers. They don't have to develop anything. And they don't have to deal with the hassle of, building, developing, doing all the assessments, all that stuff. It's not even there in this type of investment. So it's a different type of investment, but it's a very steady, very motherly type of investment because it grows with time and it can surprise you, after 2 to 3 years. We, for example, I have a client, she graduated from university and she was pregnant. And so her dad gifted her a 499K land parcel. Have this for your child's education, when the day comes. And after 2.5 years, I think it's been, she got a offer from a developer because they had purchased all the land, like on this across the entire parcel where they were at. And so they bought all these properties and they needed her property. So they sent her an offer. We advised her because she was financing that parcel. So we were able to know about this, because when we know about this, we can help our client. If we don't know about it, then, if they reach out, yes, of course. But if not, then we don't have any way of knowing. So we told her not to sell because we could see on title that they were purchasing all the land around her. So she said no. 6 months later, they said, okay, they doubled their offer. She said no. She bought for roughly 500K. And then at year 2.6, they offered 2.8 million. She took the offer when it was like 2.8 months into the buying, period of timeline. So after 2.8 months, she accepted 2.8 million. So it's like very numbers game, 2.8 and 2.8. And that's why she took it. She was like, it's been 2 years and 8 months and they're offering me 2.8 million. I'm going to take it. And so, that can happen with land, which makes me very excited, just the same way as trading would. Like, it surprises you. And so that's what I'm doing now. And it feels very much like first of all, there's no competition because there's very few people who actually know about land. Most people have no idea what they're doing. They're just like residential realtors who happen to have the opportunity to sell land, but they really don't know land and the land business. So it makes you pretty unique, to be honest. It's like a very unique knowledge that you get to pass on. It's I don't know, it's beautiful. I just go to the properties, I sit there sometimes, I just look at it, I touch it, and it feels like it's my thing, right? And because it's like so flowy, the whole process, since you get the leads all the way until the purchase of it, there's no escrow. So I don't have to be in that masculine energy of remove contingencies. You have to go talk to the inspector, the appraisal contingent. There's so much that goes into the process of buying or selling a house. And you have to be on top of that as a realtor for your clients. With this, because we are the owners, I just sign documents and they're good to go. And then I record it 1 year later. That's it. And, make sure the money comes through. So it's a much more, in my opinion, it's a much more feminine process, even though it takes a lot of masculine energy to like get it through, but it's a more balanced, for me, for my personality, for my energy, it's a way more balanced business for me. And then because that allows me some time as well, because I make calls, whatever amount of hours a day, and then I have free time. So I've been able to go back to art from a place where I feel fulfilled. And all of a sudden I had the biggest art sale I've had my entire life. A collector came to me. She's like, hey, I want to buy this. They bought so I donated one of my pieces to a gala for the school. They bought that on an auction. And even though I didn't receive any money for that, that was like my gift to the school. They came to me. They're like, we want to commission 7 drawings. And then we want to commission 2 more paintings. And then we want to commission 1 more painting. And it became like the biggest art sale that I've done my entire life. And now they open up this whole path where now I met an interior designer who just won the prize of best interior designer in LA, and now they're promoting my paintings to their collectors and their clients, and it's like all opening up without even having to go to a gallery and be like, oh, do you want to represent
It's
me?
like a full circle moment almost, no?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I said you're gonna laugh. I'm doing both. It's true.
Oh my goodness. And like just the unfolding, and that is something also that our minds, they cannot grasp that, when we're in the state of like, oh, now I have to go to the galleries. Now I have to go to the collectors and I have to kiss ass and I have to, and we're such, we're in our heads and it's so exhausting. And, especially with our energy level and, we just, as projectors, we only have like a certain amount of energy, and then we have to go back and recharge. And now, doors are opening up for you and it just comes so organically. And it's beautiful.
It's beautiful. I'm super grateful. And the big thing for me is that work, or let's call it work. Work for me is real estate and the content creation part of things, because I'm still keeping that up just because it's fun.
Yeah.
And if I don't feel like it, then I won't do it. But now I feel like doing it. It's fun for me. It's kind of creative in a different way. But my recharging moment, it's doing the drawings, which is actually generating money as well. So it's a beautiful synergy that went down through this whole process. And I needed to do everything I've done to kind of understand now everything I need to know and everything I need to understand and be curious about, because trading gave me that curiosity, like willingness to be curious and accepting to be curious and carrying through that curiosity so I could actually learn the things I needed to receive. Because that's the other thing. Sometimes we're like, yeah, I need to learn this and that, and we know it in our heads, but we don't integrate it to actually take the inspired action to make it happen.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's been quite the ride. And now, listen to this. Now I'm working with all my friends from trading who are now crypto whales and like big people in the trading world. And now they're diversifying, buying my land.
Oh my God. Stop.
Which is amazing because, we're in a high risk trade. And we, like I said, don't put all your money in land, but don't put all your money in trading either, or cryptos or stocks. You have to diversify. You have to bring income from different sources, because if something goes wrong, if there's something happening that you couldn't have foreseen, like for example, war or whatever happens in the crazy world, then you have something else to hold on to. And if, land goes to shit, which has never happened in history, but anyway, real estate goes to shit. You have trading, you have cryptos, you have stocks, you have other stuff that you can hold on to. And that's important.
Yeah. And it's so nice to see that money supports you in that way too, like, I don't know, like along the way you have acted on your intuitive nudges, and it was important to you that you, I don't know, nurture your feminine energy even more and more. And now money is just like, it seems like it flows from every angle. Yes. And, so that's amazing. Yeah, I love that. It was so interesting to hear your story. So I want to establish a new tradition, and you're the first one. Because I love to hear I don't know if you know that podcast, but Diary of a CEO with Stephen Bartlett. I don't know if you know him. At the end, he always asks the people to ask a question, like the current guest asks a question to the next guest. So I asked my last guest a question for you. And she wants to know, like, along your journey, obviously there hasn't been, it hasn't been just like beautiful. There was also kind of like growing pains and disappointments. And what would you say if you had to pick like one milestone or one period of your time that was a little bit maybe painful or hurtful? What has helped you grow, and what were you able to take from that period? I'm sure there are like many episodes, but just one that comes to your mind.
Well, I think the most recent and the biggest one in the past few years has been this one. This is my journey I've been talking about, but there's also my husband's journey along the way. Mm-hmm. And so while I was doing forex and crypto trading, he was growing in his career. So when we got here, he kind of switched careers because he would develop logistic parks back in Colombia and developments and construction. That's what his family did. Construction, residential, commercial, industrial. And he was developing an industrial park near a port. So his work was very much into real estate and construction. And when we got here, he got into sales. And he had been growing his sales career. But so I quit trading, I think it was the end of 2021. Yes. So it was November 2021. And then March 2022, my husband was going to be kicked out of his job. He had to undergo a very nasty process and fight with his previous company that ended up in a settlement. There was a family fight in the middle of it because one of my mom's brothers used to work he works in this company, and the owner of the company was basically doing all sorts of things that we did not agree with. To leave it, I cannot say anything else, but we were not agreeing the ways they were doing business. And so because of that, there was a settlement involved. In March, my husband stopped working altogether. We were receiving no income at all. We were having to, let me see this word, how do you say that? We were just having to pay a lot of lawyer fees at that point. So I was struggling to trust my process, saying like, shit, I quit my trading, my team, everything I was doing, I was growing. I had to leave it behind. And I thought it was the right move. And then now it feels like I should have not done that. I should have probably kept going, because maybe that would have given me some sort of financial room right now. And right now, I told you I took some time to, support my daughter and my family and all that. And this is when it happened in March. And we did not receive the settlement money until August. So we were basically living off of our savings, which was fine. But it made me doubt a lot of things. And then the past year has been a whole process with his process as well, because my husband he's an overthinker. He's a manifesting generator, Sagittarius, 6'2" as well. We're all 6'2" in this house. My daughter, my husband, and myself. We're all 6'2", but she's a Manny-Gen. She's a generator. He's a Manny-Gen. I'm a projector. So poor me. This poor person has to deal with these two people. And so they have like a battery stuck to their butts, and I have one sucking the energy out of me. So it's kind of hard. But I feel like this was a moment where I was questioning like all my life decisions. I was like, why didn't I study like management, like business management or whatever? Why wasn't I a lawyer? Like, this makes no sense. I made the stupidest choice of my life by quitting what I was doing. And now we're in this, in a pickle. And at the end of the day, we worked through it. But I feel like the path, I wouldn't say it was a moment. I would say it's been a full year of us dealing with learning how to navigate this situation. And now finally my husband is studying manifestation. He's doing shadow work. He's looking at all of his beliefs. He's also working through a lot of trauma. He's going to therapy because he chose to do it. He said, listen, I'm not feeling well. I'm feeling a lot of anxiety. He's an overthinker, like I said. And so he chose to go down that path that I went on like 5 years ago. And so it's been both like bittersweet. It's been very hard. It's been also very revealing. I've been able to like heal a lot of crap that was hiding, that now came to the surface. I was able to see it, bring awareness to it, work through it, and now like release it. And now we're doing good. Like, we're good. I'm not saying we're not good. We're good. But it's been a process, and it's been both painful and beautiful. And I feel like I've come to a point where thankfully I am able to see things for what they are. And I'm also able to accept that everything happens for me, even if I don't see it that way, if it feels differently at the moment. But I've been able to see it and observe it and not attach all the way through. I do attach. Sometimes I'm a person, I'm also learning. So sometimes I get very attached. And I was just having this conversation with one of my mentors. I was telling her, like, dude, is it the moon? Like, is there something going on with the planets? Because the past few days have been a freaking roller coaster, and I feel like I want to kill someone. And she goes like, yeah, don't worry, don't kill anyone. It's I don't, it's part of everything that's happening and this and that. And when I was able to release all of that and like unload that charge from my field, literally my husband called me and he said, I just got this lead and this lead and this happened and this happened. I was like, oh wow, it really is a matter of energy in all the sense of the world. And so it's been a process. It's been a crucial moment in my life. I feel like this has been decisive because of everything I shared that has been unfolding due to this event. And everything that happened before, everything that happened after. But finally, I'm able to see how things are, all the pieces are falling into place. And we are very patient and grateful and patiently watching everything rearrange and relocate so we can see our path forward. But I feel like all of us, we all have so many key moments that kind of show us the way. The thing is, most of us don't listen. But we don't know how to listen. And so, yeah, that's something that we can work on, all of us, just to learn how to listen a little bit more, listen to our bodies, listen to not only our heads, but our hearts, or how we feel. Sometimes I feel like pressure in my chest and I'm like, what's this? Like, I feel good, but I feel this pressure. That pressure is telling you something. And it's probably anxiety that's being repressed, or it could be something else. But I realized I was also having some sort of anxiety because I was attaching to him and to his process. And my friend told me today, she's like, you're not his mom, first of all. You're not responsible for his process and how he deals with things. And you don't have to do the work he committed to. So he committed to real estate, the residential side of things. You don't have to do it for him. Let him go through his process. Let him release your fear of not having enough or not doing enough so he can, take part in his own process, because you're kind of like kidnapping his process and attaching it to you, and it's hurting you and it's hurting him. So release that, let him go through his own thing, and you just stick to what you need to do. And so I feel that that's been like the most relevant sequence of events recently. But I think I'm proud of us. We've been able to navigate things, learn from it, what we've learned from it, that everything happens for a reason. And then the more you trust, the more things show up for you, your dreams show up for you, and everything that you desire and that you are expecting in a way, those things start happening once you allow them to happen. If you're taking the wheel and you're like kidnapping the wheel, nobody else is going to be able to like take a turn and take you to a surprise party, right? So, if you don't allow the universe to surprise you, then how do you want to be surprised? You need to like let go a little bit. And I think that's like the biggest thing we've been able to learn the past year. Yeah.
Amazing. Do you have any like closing words, thoughts, feelings for the beautiful women out there who want to follow, their intuitive nudges a little bit more and just embrace their femininity after, having hustled so much, and having done the things in a very like masculine way?
Yeah, I would say, if there's something that feels off, I would ask myself, why does it feel off? And start asking yourself questions so that you can identify what's not aligning with you, or what sometimes it's not even that the job or the hustle or the industry is not aligned with us. Sometimes we just also have beliefs that are not aligned with what we need to do in order to be in this world that's very masculine, but also bring our own perspective into it. So, yes, it's a very masculine environment, but how can I make it more me and less them? How can I see this in a different way so I can incorporate all of my gifts and allow my gifts to show up for me? And I think like the more questions you ask yourself, the more you're going to be able to solve some of the challenges that show up in this, career, whether it be forex trading, whether it be like crypto investing, whether it's like other types of investment. It doesn't matter as long as you're asking yourself questions so you can identify when it's been driven by your intuition and when it's your ego or your fears or your conditioning or your family's conditioning, because sometimes we just keep playing the movie of what I heard when I was a kid. And, our families, they're all rooting for us, like ancestors, alive family, everybody's rooting for us. But sometimes we don't believe it. So we just put a lot of shame and guilt on our backs, and we carry that, not knowing that, dude, you're doing great work. Whatever you're doing, if you're putting your own energy into it and bringing more of your perspective into it, then you're being supported. But you have to ask yourself questions to identify if that's being brought up because of fear, because of doubt, because of uncertainty, because of self-doubt, because of unworthiness, or if it's scary, but it's still being sent from a place of, even though this looks kind of creepy and, probably makes no sense, do it because you have this and this and this gifts that are going to show up for you and carry you through that path. So just ask yourself questions. And once you feel like, oh, this is it, just go with it and trust yourself.